Hello, everybody. How you doing? Welcome back to English TV Live here on YouTube, rather. Jeez, I'm getting confused between platforms here. How's everybody doing today? My name is Lloyd. His name is Jacob.
I assume you want... I can't see you, Lloyd, right now, so it's hard for me to know if you're pointing at me.
I'm pointing right at you, Jacob. Pointing right at you. So, Jacob, would you like to introduce yourself? You haven't been seen for a while.
Yeah. Well, I think people who are watching right now know who I am. My name is Jacob. I'm one of the co-founders of English TV Live. And yeah, it's been a while. So I've been focusing on podcasting and some other things that are happening inside of the community at English TV Live. But it's good to be back on the YouTube with you. It's quite early here in Canada, so I apologize if my brain isn't fully working. It's like 7:08 a.m. My brother's sleeping on the couch over there. So
yeah, it is crazy early right now in Canada. You said seven in the morning at the moment?
Yeah, 7 in the morning.
It's not quite time that I would be awake to do something like this, but you're more of an early bird, right? So
yeah, it's not so bad. I've been up for a little while.
Okay, cool. Well, good to have you awake at this time. Luckily over here is 3 p.m. in South Africa, so it's more suitable for me. But anyway, today we're going to be talking about time. We're going to have a natural English conversation about time. So I'm going to ask Jacob some different questions. We're going to talk about it. And also we're going to, of course, interact with you in the comments. Speaking of which, let's see who is with us right now. Let me bring your comments onto the screen. We have Morella. Very nice to see you. Hey, howdy, Lloyd and Jacob. We have Dunia, who says it's 8 p.m. in Indonesia right now, or 8:08 p.m. to be exact. Lolly says, a new haircut, Jacob?
Yeah, not so new. I guess I got it like a week ago, but fairly new.
That's what I said.
Thank you for noticing. It's always nice.
People haven't seen you on YouTube for a while, so.
Yeah.
Rafaela, nice to see you. Lolly. I think I've said your name already. Nim says, hello. Dunia says, here we go. Roxana, nice to see you. And everybody else joining, thank you so much for being here. So the topic for today then is time. And let me start off, Jacob, by asking you, how important is time to you?
How important is time to me? Well, I think it's like everything, right? If you don't have... I mean, we all have a certain amount of time on this planet, and we all have the same amount of time every day, and then that's it, as we all know. So what you do with that time is, of course, very important because it's so limited, I think. So yeah, to answer your question, it's extremely important, I would say. I think probably it's the same for everyone, right?
Does that scare you or motivate you? Because that's kind of when you put it like that, you say, we have time, and then that's it. We have a certain amount of time, fixed amount of time, and then game over. Does that motivate you or scare you, would you say?
I think it motivates me. It also is probably part of the reason I feel bad when I waste time or when I feel like I'm not spending my time properly. So yeah, I would say it motivates me more than it scares me. I mean, it is what it is. We all have a certain amount of time, and yeah, what we do with it is what matters.
Do you feel like you're making them up? This is turning it into an interview. You should feel free to ask me questions as well, Jacob. This is not Real Talk with Lloyd.
Yeah, no problem. I don't mind answering these questions. I like talking about this stuff. Right. So anytime.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I know what you mean. I think as I get older, time becomes more, I don't know, like it seems to become more valuable. I don't know if you feel the same way. And maybe when you were younger, time just seems sort of infinite and you feel like you're going to live forever, but sort of as you get older, and I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of a scary thing. And also I feel like definitely time is going faster and faster these days as I get on in my years.
Yeah.
Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, and I think that's only going to get worse. And I heard a theory about that seems to make sense to me. And the theory is that when you're young, like you said, time seems to move very slowly. And the reason for that, according to this theory, is that you don't have anything to compare to, right? So one day, you don't know how long a day is when you're young. And as you grow older and older and older, one day becomes a smaller portion of your total life. So in the grand scheme of things, when you think about your life as a whole, one day is just a small little portion. So it seems less significant, and it seems to go by faster as a result. Whereas when you're young, one day, I remember when I was in high school even, or earlier than that, the summer vacations that were 2 months long seemed to last forever. And now 2 months goes by like that. So it makes sense to me, I think, that we just have less to, again, my brain's not working right now. I can't choose the right words, but we have less to.
Just everybody, if Jacob is not, makes the occasional slip up, just bear in mind it is very, very early in the morning over in Canada. So he's still waking up. I'm still waking up. It's 3:00 here. So yeah, it is strange. I don't know, like, especially if I think about what I'm doing now, for example. So teaching online, I've been doing that for about just over a year now. And, it just feels like yesterday that I was sort of, deciding to do this. And even something, which I've talked about quite a lot, my sister's wedding, which was now a couple of weeks ago. It feels like just the other day that it was quite far. It was still very far away, and everybody was sort of looking forward to it. But now it's like, that's in the past. So it is kind of scary. It is kind of scary, but at the same time, it makes you treasure time a little bit more, I would say, making the most of the moment right now. Because I think we often feel like you want to get to the next thing. You want to get this done so you can do the next thing. We're always trying to get to that next moment instead of just enjoying the one we have right now.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Do you feel like do you enjoy the moment? Do you make the most of the present moment? Like right now, for example?
Probably.
Maybe not right now because you're half asleep, but.
Probably not as much as I should. I mean, I think there's a balance too between both of those things. And I probably, personally, I think I'm always thinking about what to do next and worrying about the next thing that I need to do rather than trying to enjoy the moment. Although I'm capable of it, I just do it less. I think I'm more on the side of worrying about what I need to do.
Do you think that's something you'd like to change?
Not necessarily, no. I think it's more a matter for me of scheduling my time better so that I can like really schedule out an amount of time where I do, enjoy spending time with friends or whatever it is that I want to do for pleasure. I think it's just a matter of scheduling things properly, because right now I'm focusing entirely on work, and that can be difficult at times.
Right. Okay, we'll talk about scheduling a little bit in a second. Let's get into some comments here. We've got lots of comments coming in from people. Thank you. Keep your comments coming if something comes to mind when we're talking, if you'd like to join in the conversation. That's the great thing about live video, right? We can talk to you directly. So why don't we take a look here? Lolly, one of our very loyal viewers, says, I don't like to waste time like watching a bad movie, for example. Yeah. Have you ever had that experience, Jacob, where you watched a movie and you were thinking, oh, I wish I could get that time back?
Oh, definitely. That's why Natalie asked me about this, actually. Natalie is one of our teachers at English TV Live, and she asked me in one of her lessons about this exact thing about watching movies. And it's one of the reasons I'm picky about movies, and I'm reluctant to watch movies that I haven't heard really good things about, because it is an investment.
I remember you said that,
yeah.
Very, very picky. You want to get a background check. You want to find out this movie's got a high review. You don't want to waste your time. Okay. Here's a comment from Anna Petrosan. Hope I'm saying your surname correctly. Hello, teachers from Moscow. I was following last time on Facebook, and nowadays on YouTube. It's so nice to hear you here. Well, Anna, we're very happy to have you here. So thank you for watching. I hope it's not too cold in Moscow. I know it's pretty cold in Calgary these days, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Tatiana, welcome to you. Finally found some time to join us. I know Tatiana's a very busy lady in Belarus. Persilia, how you doing? Persilia in Brazil says, enjoy the life. We don't know how much time remains. Yeah,
Very
that's
true.
another thing. Do you ever think about that? I mean, do you think, because as I said, we don't, anything can happen, right? I mean, touch wood, you do that when you don't want to, you want to be safe, but you don't know what tomorrow brings. Who knows what could happen? Do you try and make the most of the time that you have?
I try to,
You're
yeah.
still a young man, but who knows? Anything could happen, right?
Yeah, of course. I could die tomorrow. So
Oh, don't do that. Then I've got to present
right.
by myself. Jeez.
Yeah, exactly. And make things difficult. But yeah, no, I mean, you have to, we don't have a choice. You have to live in the face of that knowledge, I think. That's what it means to be human. So it's just the hand we're dealt.
It's a nice expression. The hand we're dealt. What does that mean? The hand we're dealt.
So that's a reference to cards. And sometimes in English we talk about dealing with the hand that you're dealt. So imagine a card game and someone gives you a certain amount of cards to play in a game, and you don't have a choice really when you're playing a card game. You have to accept the cards that you have and play the game with the cards that you have. And life is kind of the same way, and we use that expression to talk about life. You have to deal with the cards that you're dealt, the cards that someone gives you. You have to play the game. You don't have a choice.
Play the game. Yeah, so that could be things like the country you're born in, right? Your physical appearance, all different types of things like that. Yeah, the cards that you're dealt. Jacob, are you happy with the cards that you're dealt, to use that expression?
Yeah, I think I'm doing all right with the cards that I have. Of course, I mean, there's things that all of us have shortcomings, and all of us have things about our personalities that make life more difficult. But overall, I feel grateful for the hand I was dealt. Put it that way.
Another kind of similar expression is, you could say, the cards are stacked against you.
Right. Nice. That's a good one.
How would you explain that one?
Well, it's the same idea, talking about what your odds are of success, right? So if you're playing a game and your chances of winning that game are not so great, then the cards are stacked against you, you could say.
Yeah, it's a nice expression.
Yeah.
Not a nice situation, but it's a nice expression. Tatiana, again, she says, we always, in capital letters, we always have time for what we really want. If you say you don't have time for it, you just don't really want it. Yeah, so you hear a lot of people say that, right? I'd like to do that, but I don't have time. I'd like to work. I'd like to exercise, but I don't have time. I'd like to study that, but I don't have time. Have you heard people make this excuse before? And do you think it's a real excuse or not?
I think Tatiana is absolutely right. And people, including, I do this too. I'm sure you do too. We all say that we don't have time for certain things. But no, I think Tatiana's entirely right. And a good example of that is, I'm sure you have experienced this, and I'm sure that everyone in the comments too has experienced this, when maybe you notice something on your body, or you have a certain symptom that suddenly scares you, and you weren't thinking about your health before, but suddenly you notice something, and that becomes the most important thing, and all of a sudden you have time for that thing where you didn't have time for anything else before. So I think Tatiana's absolutely right.
Exactly. So I guess that plays into the idea which we were talking about before, scheduling, right? So scheduling things in your life, whether it's work or play, exercise, etc. Do you think that you schedule? That's a good expression, phrasal verb, by the way. To schedule out. So to schedule out your day, or you could also say to plan out your day. Do you keep a schedule, Jacob?
I've tried to in the past. It's difficult for me. I think I'm more disorganized than I should be, probably when it comes to scheduling time. But I keep what I do now, and this seems to be working okay, is I keep a list of things that I'd like to do in a certain day. So I make this list usually every morning, and I try to get through the list, and I try to be realistic about it too, like to really think about what I have time for and what I'd like to do, and that seems to be working okay. I tried to keep a schedule in the past with like, do this for 2 hours, this for half an hour kind of thing, and that was difficult for me, but I keep a list.
Keep a list. So not a schedule, you have a list. So you have a list of things you need to do.
Yeah.
In my case, a real game changer for me, because I always had trouble scheduling, was Google Google Calendar was a real game changer for me. So, have you tried that before, Jacob? Google Calendar or some type of online
Yep.
calendar?
Yeah, that's what I was using before. It's a great tool. The tool is not the problem; it's the user.
Right, right. But it does. I mean, for me, having things mapped out, you can say as well, having things mapped out with Google Calendar is really, really useful for me. Definitely, it just helps me to remember everything. At least that works for me. Let's check out some more comments here then. Dunia says, what is the meaning of picky? Picky means, another way you could say is choosy. It means it's, you don't easily choose something. You're quite fussy is another way you could say. So in this case, Jacob is quite picky about the movies that he watches. He doesn't just watch any movie. He has to watch a specific movie. It can also be at a restaurant. Some people are picky eaters, fussy eaters. They don't just eat anything. They only eat specific things, which can be a problem if the restaurant doesn't have a very big menu. I have a cousin who's a very, very... I used to be, when I was a little kid, I used to be very, very, very fussy with eating. Luckily, I'm better now. But a cousin of mine, he can barely eat anything. You go to a restaurant with him, it's a nightmare. He's very, very picky,
That's
very
annoying.
fussy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, here we got, there's some other comments here. Roxana says, today's topic makes me cautious about the importance of time. Yes. I think definitely when we sit down and think about it and talk about it, it does really make you think, at least for that time. It's like anything. If you focus on something, like you're talking about health, then maybe you'll think about it more, but it's something we can easily forget as well. Rafaela says, okay, I'll give this one to you, Jacob. If you could go back in time, do you have a special moment or a moment which you would like to live, but you weren't born? So I think it means a time in the past before you were born, if you could go somewhere in the past.
Yeah, the 60s seemed pretty cool. Like the 1960s seemed like a fun time to be alive. I was just watching a documentary last night, actually, with my brother about, we started watching two different ones. And they were both about bands from that era, and it seemed like a fun time to be alive, so probably the 60s. Wouldn't want to go too far back because we have some good things now that didn't exist before, so.
Yeah, I think, 60s or 70s had more of a kind of innocence about it, I think. Or kind of...
Innocence, I don't think is the right word. It was like, it's more...
maybe more... I'm not sure
I
exactly.
was thinking rebellious, if anything. Like there's lots of revolutions going on, and people were trying new things and experimenting and challenging old ideas. It seemed like a cool time.
Yeah, more of an everything was kind of new and exciting and optimistic. I think any time, it kind of sounds sad, but any time before all this technology has taken over, like people were more kind of. Obviously, we're not the best case study for that because we're right in the middle of it. But I think before technology really took hold, something takes hold, it takes control. I feel like people were, I don't know, more active, sort of out and about doing things. Whereas now we spend a lot of time in front of a screen. But then again, we do have a lot of advantages that we didn't have at that time. So,
right.
Okay, so Jacob's off to the 60s. Pina says, sometimes I go, maybe you need to get like a Beatles haircut next time. Sometimes I go with the flow in life, time or things that can't always be controlled. Yeah. Jacob, do you feel like you go with the flow? I feel like sometimes
Sometimes.
you could be, maybe you're a little bit, how do I say this nicely? Maybe I'm a bit more relaxed than you, I think it's fair to say. But do you let your hair down? So to let your hair down means to
Oh yeah.
just relax and forget about stresses and stuff of life?
Oh yes, I'm certainly capable of that. Yeah, I definitely can do that. I'd say I worry about things, but I'm also um, I like to have a good time. I'll put it that way.
All right. There you go, everybody. Jacob likes to have a good time. Another comment here is Made in Acre, the username. I like spending time traveling to countries where they speak English because I have a chance to practice my English skills. Very nice. And I saw another comment which said you were in South Africa a few days ago. That's awesome. And Rafael says, thank you for your answers. Let me ask you one or two more questions, Jacob, and then I'll let you get on with your day, make the most of your time. So here's a question for you. Here's a famous expression, which is time is money. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. It makes me think about the idea that time is the most valuable thing that you have again. So we often trade our time for money at jobs. At many jobs you're paid an hourly rate or a salary, and it's tough that puts a value on your time, I guess, and it's tough to determine what your time is worth a lot of the time in terms of a financial value. But yeah, I think for sure time is money. It's the most precious thing you can give someone. It's your time.
Do you think that you how do I say this? Do you think you make the most of the possible time that you have every day? I asked you that already. I was trying to think of so the time is money. So do you feel like you adequately charge people for your time?
Well, I'm not making as much money as I'd like to right now, of course, but I mean, we're trying to build this business and we're trying to build something so a few things I want to say actually to talk about English TV Live. Not that we were planning this, but this is a nice segue into that. So we were talking about the idea that time is the most valuable thing that you can give someone. And one of the cool things about English TV Live is that we are there with you guys every single day. We wanted to build something that a platform for English learners that was something really special, something that kind of brought you along the journey of learning English. And we wanted to be there right with you during that process. So that's part of the reason behind the live component, is that we want to be there with you throughout your journey. And we're actually live in the Facebook group every day. Now, to your question about am I charging people enough for my time? I mean, this is the project that I'm working on fully right now. So we're trying to grow this thing. And I think eventually, of course, if we get enough members, then yeah, we could be making good money. But yeah, those are, I hope that answers your question. I maybe went on a bit of a tangent there.
No, that's a nice tangent. Always nice to get a little English TV Live plug in there. If you have not joined already.
By the way,
EnglishTVLive.com is the place to be. We'll have some exciting news for you, of course, coming up soon. Yes, Jacob?
Well, I wanted to say that exciting news because it's ready right now.
Okay.
So there's a link in the description of this video if you're not already a member. One thing that we wanted to do was to give people an option to sample English TV Live, just because I know myself, there's so many products online and there's so many people that are trying to get you to purchase their thing and they say that it's the best. And we actually believe that we really have the best platform for English learners. And we wanted to open our doors and show you what we're doing. So with all of that said, we created a trial version of English TV Live. So for just $1, you can get full access to everything that we're doing behind the scenes at English TV Live and become a private member for 7 days. And this is the trial version and the link is below. We actually just released this today. So if you're interested in trying out English TV Live and seeing all of the exciting things that we've got going on, you can do it for just $1. Click the link below and you'll be there.
Yeah, yeah, because it just happens. I wasn't sure if I could mention it right now, but there you go. Yes. Actually, we do have it in the link in the description of this video. So a trial version of English TV Live. If you're not sure if it's the right product for you, this you can have a 7-day trial if you click on the link in the description of this video. We'll talk more about that later. But yeah, a trial version of English TV Live. Try it out. See if it is the right product for you. Of course, we think that it is, taking your English to the next level. But I think that's about all the time we have for today. I was going to ask you one more question as well, Jacob. The last question was, what time of day are you most productive? Because I know
Definitely the morning.
You're a morning person, so are you more productive in the morning?
Yeah, for sure, I'd say. I usually slow down a bit in the early afternoon, and then I maybe take a couple of hours off and then work again in the evening. But for sure, between like 5 and 10, I would say I'm most productive.
Between 5 in the morning?
Yeah, I don't usually wake up at 5 in the morning,
My
but
goodness.
like five, like whenever I first wake up, which is usually pretty early, to about, like 4 or 5 hours later is when I'm most productive.
My goodness. Lolly says, I'm a night owl. So Lolly and I are on the same page. We're both night owls, definitely. Okay, well, thank you for your time, Mr. Jacob. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed this video, something a little bit different, natural conversation between Jacob and I, will possibly bring in some other people in the future as well. We think it's really a good opportunity for you to have some listening practice. Of course, join in with us as well in the conversation. Today's topic was time. If there's any other topics that you'd like us to talk about, let us know and we'll be happy to talk about them. But that's about it for today. As we said, in the link of this video, we have the link to the trial version of English TV Live, which is just been released a couple of minutes ago, unless I'm mistaken. So go over there and you will get a trial version for 7 days of English TV Live. Try it out. See if you like it. We think you will. And that's about all I have to say for now. Jacob, any last words?
No, thanks. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed this conversation, and yeah, we'll be back soon.
All right, everybody. Have a fantastic day. Sorry, Jacob?
No, that's about it.
Oh, you're waving. You're waving. Okay. I thought you were
Just
doing
waving.
some karate chop or something. All right, everybody. Have a great day. Make the most of the time you have today. And we will talk to you again next time. Bye-bye, everybody. You can do your karate chop now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.